Welcome back to the Flow State Podcast. I'm your host, Marshall Medallion, and today we have a very special guest, life coach, entrepreneur, and motivational speaker, Jerry Kyles. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you for having me. That's what it's about. My pleasure. Pleasure being here, man.
Yes, sir. So tell people your story, man. You've done a lot of things. You're doing a lot of things, but how did it all start?
Well, it started when I was young, and a lot of people don't understand the phrase, pay attention to what's in front of you.
Okay.
So I had a dad who, the reason why I came back from Las Vegas, Nevada was to bury him 18 months ago. He was a pillar here in the Cincinnati, Ohio area. And he was one of the first black African-American cops in the city of Cincinnati.
Okay.
Served on the force for 27 years, and then he was a U.S. Marshal for 17 years.
Okay.
So very big into the community.
Yes, sir.
My mom, nurse, phlebotomist, retired in the hospital industry. My sister is a chemical electrical engineer.
Wow.
And then you have me, the baby of the family. So basically just paid attention to what was in front of me, you know, those leaders, those true entrepreneurs, those servants. And then I grew up in the tri-state area.
Okay.
Graduated from Purcell Marion High School,
Nice.
GCL, class of 2000.
Yes, sir.
Went to Mount St. Joe University, College of Mount St. Joseph in Delhi.
Yes.
Graduated back in 2004, played college football. And for 20 years, I was in the staffing, recruiting, HR, sales, leadership, executive positions for light industrial, warehouse, distribution, manufacturing services.
Okay.
So I did the hiring, the firing, the onboarding,
Okay.
the training aspects of it, the mentoring, the coaching, the development of team leaders. I had probably anywhere from 125, 150 staff members.
Wow.
At that point where they came directly to me, reported. So after that, back in 2021, I started my own company, All Envision. It's individuals writing their own blueprint to life as opposed to society writing it for them. So what does that mean? That actually is giving back to what we lost as individuals during COVID.
Wow.
That's why I started it during COVID. And it's actually people writing their own blueprint to life as opposed to society writing for them. So producing those true entrepreneurs, those people that believe into themselves, the people that invest time into their mental, their physical, their spiritual, you know, and we lost that. And I don't understand, till this day, the world is just different now.
It is.
You know, so if you go back to the basics, that's what All Envision is about. Love All Life Foundation started back in 2023, caters towards giving back to kids in local communities worldwide. So where there's a need, I want to be the difference and the solution in real time.
I love that. I love that. What kind of led you into really speaking to this next generation and that kind of being your focus?
Just because I've seen my dad do it for so long. You know, I was a 3-sport athlete growing up, and seeing all the time and all the patience and all the love he gave me, the tough love as well, you know, and seeing how kids just flocked to him, seeing how he would walk into a room and just light up the whole room and, you know, demand that respect and that attention.
Yeah.
And then just see how he poured into me. I started sports when I was 5 years old. My first love was baseball.
Okay.
Then I moved into basketball, and I ended at football.
Okay.
And then I played college in football.
Nice.
So it's not about where you start, it's where you finish.
100%.
And these kids nowadays, they don't have that love. You know, they don't have that true hands-on approach because they come from broken households. They come from different areas, different problems, different situations.
Yeah.
So it's just being able to tell my story to the world, being able to relate to these kids, being able to be hands-on. I've done a lot of stuff nationwide, from here to Las Vegas, Nevada, where I was with the Boys and Girls Club of Southern Nevada for about a year or so before I actually moved back to Cincinnati, Ohio. So giving back to the community, I do a lot of fundraiser events. I'm hands-on, I'm inside the school systems.
Right.
And that's what it's about, you know, being able to go back to your childhood days. And me being a little bit older, being almost 44 years old next month, that's what it's about for me.
Right.
You know, being able to relate, being able to give back, be able to spend time, and just be able to give that genuine love that we lost.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah. I've been seeing how that a lot of things are caught, not always taught. And the reason why I created this podcast is not only to exemplify the flow state, but to create a community. Because for me, that's what it sounds like you loved in your father. I love what my dad and so many people that have shown it to me, and that's what I enjoy as a barber, as a DJ, as a person of the community, is I love interaction.
Yes.
Like we're meant to be together. We're meant to have community, and COVID tried to rob us of that. And
True.
so people
Very
like
true.
ourselves come out of that, and we're having to kind of reignite some of these fires and show that it's like, you know, you have potential, you have, you know, creativity, you have a purpose, you know. And what better way than to show them ours?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so shout out to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
What are some of these needs that you've seen specific in the youth, and what are some of their strong suits? Because, you know, a lot of people look at this next generation and they think they're lost. And, you know, I think that there's things that obviously have been missing, but I think they also, personally, when I cut some of these younger kids, I see they're very emotionally intelligent, and they can't fake the funk. They can't do something they don't want to do.
Yep.
And I think that's something that our parents did without questioning it. I think we questioned it. I think we did half and half. Like you said, you did half of that, and then you're like, hold on, like I can do this myself.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
The needs for these kids right now comes down to one word: love.
Wow, I agree.
Love. Yeah. And man, it's that word so in itself is so powerful, and they just look for it.
Yeah.
You know, they yearn it. You know, when I go into these different Montessoris, the different schools, the troubled schools that are in the area, you know, driven with troubled kids and troubled teens that, you know, at any given time, you just don't know. They might have a outbreak and have a bad day or whatever the case may be. But, you know, it's all about being able to relate. We all come from being a kid. We all was born as a kid. We all went through those experiences.
Right.
So now it's just seeing in their eyes. And I know I've really touched a kid by when they just come up to me and give me a hug.
Yes.
And it's just like, you know, it's just that tightness and that bond that you build, you know, and that respect that you gain. So I see that. They yearn for that. You know, they yearn for that attention. Because when a kid doesn't get what they want, they lash out because they don't get that attention.
Right.
They don't get that love. They don't get that conversation.
Right.
You know, so I just be able to be real, and I'll have an open door policy. So, you know, when it comes down to if I hear a kid is doing bad, put me in that classroom. Let me get hands on. I guarantee he's not going to be doing the same thing by the time I get done with it.
Right.
You know, so it's not being able to be a drill sergeant.
Right.
It's being able to have that open arm approach.
Right.
And we as individuals, we're so I've had to learn back in the day when me growing up, they say, you need to smile more. I say, what do you mean? Because you have a gift. You have a gift without words. So just smile.
100%.
You know, even when you're going through a bad day, and these kids just don't understand the basics. And everything I'm doing is basically going back to the fundamentals of, you know, what we've lost and the things that our parents, our loved ones, we don't have those grandmothers that are back in the day. You know, those aunts, those uncles, you know, that say one or two words or something, couple sentences, and you really understand it. You really get it, or it really stays with you. You know, they're dead and gone now. Now you got kids raising kids. And nowadays, it's for me, I just like to basically, like I said before, we're on this platform to be able to tell our story.
Right.
You know, and when I always say, when your preparation and time after again meets the opportunity, will you be ready?
Wow.
You know, and I'm always ready for the moment. I don't shy away from it.
Yes, sir.
You know, most of the services that I provide into these schools and when I go to these fundraiser events, it's free time.
Yeah.
You know, I volunteer my services to the Tri-State because I know there is a need, because there's a lot of people that just worried about surviving. A lot of adults. So they might have 4, 5, 6 kids, you know, that they live with, you know, but they're not able to give that individual time, that patience, because they're trying to survive. They're trying to go to the workforce. They're trying to, you know, put food on the table for the kids and things of that nature. But it's that time in between, and school is just not enough.
Yeah. So how do you, outside of doing that, because it sounds like you're taking on a lot of that, and obviously you know how to, work with it, be intentional, but how do you recharge? How are you intentional outside of giving so much? You can only give out of your abundance. How do you reset, recharge? What are some of the things that you do throughout your day when you're not speaking?
Well, when I'm not speaking, oh my God, I always say it's 24 hours in a day.
There.
4 to 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do in those other 18 hours?
Yeah.
I work out a lot. For my mental health, I sell a natural supplement called CMOS.
Okay.
It's 92 to 102 minerals and nutrients that the body needs to perform at its highest level and peak on an everyday basis.
Yes.
So it comes across from the Caribbean seas, the Virgin Islands, St. Lucia, Africa, Panama City. So I get it directly from that source, and I've seen what it's done to me to change me. I was a pre-diabetic.
Wow.
I had high blood pressure for what the doctors diagnosed me here 20 years ago. I went the holistic approach, went to Vegas. 4 years later, now I'm free.
Wow.
Free, don't take any pills, natural supplements. So like I say, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than you, and it's about us and how we can come together.
Right.
To be that difference as opposed to being a statistic.
Yeah.
And I pride myself on leading by example. I tell these kids nowadays, it's hard. It's easy to do bad and hard to do good. Understand that concept.
Right.
That's backwards.
It is.
We should be able to do everything and be able to have that helping hand every day. Because think about it, when we grew up, I'm in my 40s, what we had was that person that'll pick you up off the ground, not kick you when you're down.
Yeah.
Now it's all the violence,
Yeah.
all the outpour, because these kids don't have nothing to do.
Right.
And the parents and the authority figures, it seems like it's just not enough.
Right.
And I'm not saying that they don't care.
Yeah, they're just exhausted.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
I agree. And it's, we can talk about it a little bit, but it's kind of, people like us, I think we're big on individuality.
Yes.
And it takes somebody exemplifying that. You can only grow to what you're exposed to.
Thank you.
Right.
Right there.
So you have to kind of model that. So growing up, I talked too much. I talked too much in school.
Okay.
I talked too much in jobs. I just talked too much for what they would say, right? So now I get paid to talk. You get paid to talk or compensated.
Right.
Money is something exchanged for a good or service.
True.
And if our needs are met, payment, that is the payment. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I look at that and I think of my kids, and I really want them to understand that, there's something that you have unique to you that is your gift, and if you flow in it, you will be compensated.
Right.
It's not about always getting this degree. It's not always about doing what the schools or the boss say you need to do to be successful. There's part of that. You have to understand systems. There's systems in play. You got to respect the systems, but there's something, let's call it the angle, with the saturation, like I think about this in business sense, in the saturation of a market, you have to work the angles. The riches are in the niches. You know what I mean?
Now you preaching.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
okay.
So I love that you're really modeling that for this next generation. How important is networking within your vocation, man?
My God. Networking, build your network. And people don't understand that. And it's like, well, Jerry, how do you go to this, and how are you all over it? Because I plan for it. I organize it. We all have that extra 15 minutes to an hour that we can spend doing something that gives back.
Yes.
We just don't. But we want to watch everybody else on social media and things of that nature. No, be hands-on.
Yes.
Get out there. Be
Right.
heard, be seen, be felt in the moment.
Right.
So networking events, you never know. You might be talking to that next business partner.
Right.
That true friendship that you never saw, that you never heard, that you wanted so long. You might find it in that individual just from being out. in the public. So I go to a lot of fundraiser events. I spend a lot of time in the schools, go to true networking events because that's what it's about.
Right.
It's all about networking.
Yeah, and that's how we met.
Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to Mike.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike is my good buddy, man. He's a guy that, when he talks, you listen.
Correct.
And, we feed off of each other's energy, we motivate each other. And, when you're not inspired by the people around you, it's a cage. And so I only have people around in my circle that motivate me.
Right.
True motivation.
Right.
And how, networking and always being out, you don't have to go out and drink. You don't have to go out and do all the extracurricular, but you just have to go out and be effective.
Right.
Get out of the world what you want to get, because you can't do it behind closed doors.
Yes.
I'm more effective, not on the phone, not on text message, not on email.
In person.
Hands on.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly. How do you structure? So like, do you kind of have a schedule that, I know you say you work out, but do you how do you structure different things? I know you got some events coming up. Are you like on the business side of things? Do you have like a schedule that you kind of try to roughly keep? And also, do you leave yourself room to kind of like flow and like freestyle around that? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Most of my events that I do is a year in advance.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm into my third year of my nonprofit, but I was doing the work before.
Yeah.
So you had to make it official at some point. And then when I started All Envision 5 years ago, I had to take a step back. I wasn't fulfilled. So 2 years later, 2023, Love All Life Foundation, and now I became whole. So, when you think about the organization and everything, I made time, and my most effective time that I found was during quiet time, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. That's when I do my most work. That's where I'm most creative. When the lights cut off for a lot of people, they cut on in my mind.
I agree.
And I start to think, and I start to organize, and I put pen to paper, and I just continue to work on me. Sleep, yes, you do have to sleep to repair the body, trust me.
Yeah, of
but
course.
we do too much sleeping out here.
I agree.
Sleep on ourselves.
They say people be knowing LeBron's stats before they know their own stats.
There you go. Instead of taking that time to sit there in the first 30 minutes of the day, what are you doing? Are you preparing mentally for the day? Or are you sitting here scrolling on Instagram looking at somebody else and you're not even pouring into yourself?
Yeah.
That's where it should start.
Yeah.
Take that mental time for yourself. Prepare. Prepare the night before and then execute the day of. And then when those feet hit that pavement, you better run like hell and be ready for the moment, in the day, in the trenches. So that's how I pride myself and be able to plan my work and then organize it and be effective every day. Because I, like you say, when preparation of years and years and years in those quiet times, we talked about it before.
Right.
Meets the opportunity where you need to share your story to the world.
Right.
Will you be ready?
Right.
I'm ready every day.
Man.
Organized, ready to execute, ready to touch lives. And then, I'll be able to leave that window of opportunity where it comes for different things will just flow naturally, like that conversation, like that meeting, like that event that you didn't know about, but you're gonna pop up on, because of, so it's just being able to see big picture. And I tell people nowadays, pay attention to what's in front of you. It might not make sense that second, that moment, that minute, that day, but hold on to it. And then listen to everything that somebody comes out their mouth and say, because that's gonna sometime click and work for you if you're intentional what you do.
Right. Yeah, I throughout my travels, I've seen people live this reality that we now live, and it's kind of hard for people to grasp because a lot of people have never left their hometown. A lot of people treat their whole lives like high school. So they think that, okay, I grew up with these friends, or this is my family that I'm related to. And they think that that is what they have to, pick from. Whereas because I moved so much and I was an only child and just things were always changing for me, it created a superpower for me. The ability to maximize whatever experience I was a part of, but also understanding that it could change, whether out of my control or it can change in my control because I was exposed to these different things. So now it's like I tell some of my clients, like, look at it like this, like, okay, A plus B, that, like, for instance, A is your God-given potential, B is the demand in society. If the equation isn't making sense, maybe C is the location. Maybe you have the potential, maybe there's a demand for it, but not where you're currently at. And I think about that. I think that and for people like us, I don't think it's one place.
Right.
I think it's so many different places. And, the suitcase is my house. Home is when I FaceTime my family.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's kind of like, it's like missionary behavior. It's meeting needs. And okay, I would use this money that I made at a regular 9 to 5 to pay my rent or pay my mortgage and eat and do the things that I want to do. Well, why don't I do the things that I want to do and was created to do, and my mortgage and my rent and my food is taken care of, and I'm celebrated everywhere I go because they're ready for me, they're expecting me. And I'm to the point now, people are like, do you have any trips planned? And I've honed this mantra. I don't want to travel unless I'm being hired to travel. And it's not even a money thing, it's a celebration thing. Have you ever gone on a trip to somewhere and had to pay for the experience and it still isn't what you thought it was? Like, say, like, oh, like, I've always wanted to go to Miami. And then you go to Miami and you're like, oh, I got to do this to fit in, or do this to get that feel, as opposed to going somewhere. You might go to Miami a different time with somebody that's from there or somebody that's hiring you to go there. And now you're getting the best experience because you're welcome, you're hosted, and you're flowing in your potential. And it's like, I could do this all day long. And I used to have the misconception, because I used to go to a place and I'm like, I could live here and like, it's great here. And it's not that it's not great there, but I realized that it's my personal experience on being celebrated somewhere that makes my experience there. Because I've had other people go to the same places, different cities that I've gone to, and they're like, Louisville's not all that great. I'm like, Louisville is amazing. Every time I go there, they welcome me with open arms. I feel my flow state, and because that's my experience.
Right.
So I encourage people, my different subscribers, followers out there, really be intentional about making the connections. If you have a friend or somebody that that's invited you to go across the world or do a different state, take that trip, because that is how you maximize those opportunities and getting those experiences.
And you're writing your own script.
Exactly.
Big picture, big vision.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. What is some advice, whether it could be books, it could be a quote, whatever. What would you really like to leave with this next generation, or somebody just starting a brand?
Wow, that's I can go out that so many different ways. So you really have to perfect your craft, and to really get what makes you tick, you have to look at what gets you excited. These people, like the kids nowadays, they get excited by social media.
Right.
They get excited by what they see on TV.
Yeah.
They're exposed to a lot. Yeah. So if you're a person that's just starting or trying to understand who, what, why, when, where, go to that role model. Go to that person that inspires you. Study that person. Research it. Right. Research and perfect your craft. Spend time. Spend hours. Yeah. People think that it's going to happen overnight. No. I started my company back in 5 years, and I'm starting now to reap some of the benefits from that hard work. Because if you have doubt on yourself, it's never going to work. If you don't have faith to go through the trenches and the tough times, it's never going to work. You know, you're gonna fail more times when dealing with rejection.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just by being around them people that really make you tick. So it's like when we go to school, we go to school to learn, but we don't take that time to learn ourselves.
Right.
It's something that somebody else wrote. Write what you want to write, how you
Correct.
want to write it.
Correct.
So how do you do that? You have to practice. You have to spend that time in the mirror. You have to make all kinds of faces to be able to communicate well. You got to see yourself before the world can see you.
100%.
You know, and you know, everybody doesn't have to go to church. I do recommend some people and kids nowadays having some kind of religion or something to believe in.
Okay.
Don't believe in violence. Don't believe in anger. You know, there is help out there.
Yeah.
So it's really just about starting your own brand, is really believing in yourself.
Okay.
You know, I tell people to go back to the basics. What does that look like? Go back to the fundamentals that the people in front of you put in front of you for a reason.
Right.
You know, and just work like hell.
Yeah.
You know, countless hours and, you know, being determined to overcome any adversity that's in your face.
Right.
You know, and I always say lead by example.
For sure.
Don't follow the in crowd. You know, if there's a fight going on over there in the corner, walk away from that. You know, my parents always said, you know, those people are on the corner, or the street corner. They're going to be those same people on the street corner 20 years from now.
It's a fact.
Or they're going to be dead because that's all they know. So when you said as far as life experiences and individuals trying to write their own blueprint, get out there and see the world.
Yes.
That's the biggest advice. Get out there and see the world, experience life, get out of your comfort zone, be able to see different things, experience different things. You know, it's not about being around millionaires, you know, because some people can really humble you that have nothing.
I agree.
So it's really just for, like I said before, paying attention and, you know, being determined to be a winner. Because we're all in a society to fail because it's set up that way.
For sure.
So how are you going to be the difference as opposed to being a statistic?
I love that. Before we get out of here, tell us about some stuff you got coming up, some of your events. I know you got something coming up this week.
Yes, I have a party at P-A-R-T at Doubted, April 26th from 3 to 7. We're giving back to the community, raising funds for a good cause. I have my 3rd annual Love All Life Foundation golf charity, August 1st, I'm sorry. Shotgun start at 1:30. It's at Newman Golf Course. It's my 3rd annual. We do a lot of stuff. We do a lot of stuff giving back to the community. We've had 3 or 4 successful events already this year, and it's only been the first quarter. So
That's
we're
awesome.
going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to touch the community, continue to be hands-on. And continue to be the difference. You know, I'm going to continue to sell CMOS. I do a lot of health and fitness because without health, there's nothing.
Health is wealth.
Thank you. Thank you.
And what's the point of earning all these things if we can't be around to enjoy it?
Right. Exactly. It's not all about doing stuff and being an in crowd. It's not all about going to that party all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's really staying home, really investing that time into yourself and really want to make an impact.
Yeah.
You know, I tell myself now, my nonprofit organization is for me to come back to the tri-state area and leave a legacy.
Love it. Love it. Where can people find you at?
I'm actually on Facebook, Jerry Kyles, JerryKyles. All Envision Cincinnati is Instagram. Love All Life Foundation is Instagram. I'm known. I have a lot of stuff on Google. If you just Google the name, as far as different events, different things that I come encounter with, you know, here in the tri-state area. And I have a website. It's www.all, the letter N for Nancy, vision.com.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming in, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for watching. And make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you guys next time.